Hey, good evening, everybody. First of all, welcome this evening to the first of our LGFA Match Official Education Series. Brilliant to have so many of you on tonight. I suppose before we get into the session tonight, it's just a bit of housekeeping. So just to say that, like throughout the evening, if you have any questions, to please pop them into the Q&A or into the chat. Throughout the evening, myself and Kieran will give you lots of opportunity to engage with us. We'll be using polls, we'll be asking you to use the chat function. So we're just asking you to be open with us. Any of the polls are anonymous, but just to be open so we can have an honest conversation, I suppose, in relation to the topic. If for any reason you cannot hear us, we just ask you just leave and usually pop back on again. That usually solves any problems in my experience. So we'll get going. So first of all, maybe to introduce myself, my own name is Lizzie Flynn, and I am head of match official development for the ladies football, and I have my lovely colleague with me here on tonight. So Kieran, if you want to just come in yourself, introduce yourself, and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Lizzie. Kieran Murdoguy, County Down man. I'm the Ulster Ladies Development Officer. I've been working with Lizzie the past couple of years since she came into post. So looking forward to a bit of engagement tonight. It's two-way things, not just me and Lizzie. We need you to interact with us just to get the most out of it, guys, and hopefully we'll get a few learning curves for tonight's webinar for everybody, including me and Lizzie.
Yeah, absolutely. So I suppose this evening is about creating a positive environment for referees in your club. This is part of I suppose, a series of webinars. So there's a couple of upcoming ones as well. So just to remind you before we get into the topic, they're taking place starting tonight, and it's running right through to the end of March. There's a couple of really good ones in there as well, including tonight. So we have an injury prevention for referees on next week with John Corrigan from DCU. They did a huge piece of research on that, so that would be quite interesting. We're doing a deep dive on being a referee with a couple of our national referees in December. We're running umpire lines training, annual refreshers, and another really interesting one there where we're with one of our national referees, just kind of going through a day in the life of the referee. So there's plenty of opportunities, I suppose, to maybe over the winter period to learn a bit, to get thinking on certain things, and especially, I suppose, it's a great time to do it when the evenings, unfortunately, now are getting dark again. Excuse me. So I suppose by the end of the session tonight, we'll hope that you'll have a better understanding of what culture is. So what is culture? What is culture in your club? To recognise the importance of knowing who you are as a club and what kind of club it is you want to be. And then we'll kind of delve into, towards the end, a little bit more on this evening's topic and identify methods maybe for yourselves to help create a positive environment for referees within your club. So we will maybe get yourselves going, and I'm going to ask you to use the chat function. So hopefully that is working. But just maybe in the chat box there, would you mind popping in maybe a sentence or a couple of words on what culture or club culture means to you? So it's a fairly broad. It's fairly broad. So Kieran, you might kind of keep an eye on that for me.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on the chat function.
Sorry, yeah, I am just going to, if you weren't able to chat, so I've just changed that setting there. So you should be able to pop in your thoughts now on that. So in a sentence or a couple of words, what do you think club culture means to you? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, Brian, we can share out at the end. Lizzie, again, just Brian missed the start about the webinars coming up, Lizzie, but we can go back to the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just anything, guys. Anything doesn't, even if you think it's the wrong answer, put anything and we can have a chat about it, Lizzie, on the chat function, guys. So in terms of culture, a lot of people, Lizzie, always talk about coaching culture in a club, but referees, in terms of how we approach referees, are referees out internally within our own club, or referees actually coming to our club to officiate a game. So As Brian straight away, the culture is the attitude of all players and members to have towards the sport and to our officials. Yeah, attitude. Gerald, the respectful behaviour, and of course the campaign "Give Respect, Get Respect" is ongoing throughout all the codes in the Gaelic Games family. Everybody working together from Sanders, thank you to promote and support, and that word working together, like without officials, we all know guys or games wouldn't be played. Without coaches, the young girls in our association wouldn't be on the field. Without the administrators, so it's everybody involved in our game, Lizzie, getting the best out of for what's important. And of course, that woman or man in the middle is the most important thing in our games. Being in a positive environment with like-minded people who share the same passion and goals. How we talk to our players and referees, and that communication is very, very important. It's a two-way thing, Lizzie. I think that referees, yeah, that it's important that they talk to you and maybe give an understanding, especially to our younger players, about the rules, and maybe they're not aware of it. And some of our coaches as well, they need educated, Lizzie, that they're not aware of all the rules of our games, and the rules are so vast that their coaches need educated as well. So communication is a two-way thing. Communication with the players, communication with coaches, and communication with our officials, with each other, and how we approach our referees and treat them when they come to our ground. So yeah, plenty of answers there, Lizzie. I don't think we've
brilliant. So great to it's great actually start when people actually are interacting with. So thanks very much, and I'll ask you to keep continuing that throughout the evening. So I suppose then looking at what actually is club culture. So I suppose what's described out here is what the experience. Club culture is what is experienced by the members of our sport within our club on a daily basis. And this is the look and the field experience when somebody walks into the club gates. It's interaction between the members, it's the decisions made, and how we make them is actually important. So I suppose essentially it's the how we do what we do. Sorry. I suppose culture is always grounded in a shared vision. So a good, high functioning, positive culture within a club is usually grounded in a vision, that people have a vision of what they want the club to be. And I always say to us, what do we want our people to say about our club? And that's reflecting the culture. So having a shared set of goals and actions that people within the club, those values are really important. I suppose culture then, I suppose it can develop organically, but of course has the greatest chance when we're all working together in a collaborative way. So the fish in the fishbowl. I always say when we're trying to improve culture or try and improve things within our club, it's not always about being the best. It's about being better today than what you were yesterday. So I would say tonight, hopefully, some of it will be thought-provoking. Some of it, maybe it's already happened within their clubs. But just maybe there'll be something you'll see tonight that you'll say to yourself, gosh, maybe that's something now we might do within our club to, I suppose, increase the positive culture of refereeing and match of discipline in our club.
Yeah,
so
Lizzie, probably just on that, Lizzie, just
yeah,
that positive mindset is very, very important, because listen, us Irish people have a very sort of negative mindset, and we're always putting ourselves down to a certain extent. And I always say that as a coach, Lizzie, to my players, you can't change the past, what happened 15 minutes ago or 20 minutes ago. Let's think positive of the future and that mindset. And sometimes, Lizzie, and we all know guys on the call, that there's one or two rotten eggs within the club that can really have a toxic sort of impact on your culture as a club. To me, them rotten eggs, you're better off without them in the pack, and moving on and focusing on the good things and the positive things that you're trying to do. And that's from the top down, and that's from your chair right down, Lizzie, to your nursery coach, right down to your referee within the club, and right down to everyone associated with the club. Because sometimes it's not about the victories, Lizzie, it's about how you portray yourself to the rest of clubs in your county, in your province, to the whole association.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think we're going to be touching on that, maybe some examples of that as well later on. So just to kind of get an idea, of where you would you say, just broadly, and it's to do with the whole club culture, nothing specific, would you say that your club is a positive environment? So I will shrug the poll there. I should have had that ready. So just yes, no, or if you're not sure.
Many people will sit in the fences there. Many people will be honest here.
Honest, yeah, and we would encourage you to be honest there. So,
they're voting away
oh
there.
no, that's the wrong poll. My apologies. We'll come back to that now. I stopped that. Sorry, I shared the wrong one there. They're just in a different order now. My apologies, everybody.
Yeah, well, some people are just doing the chat function, Lizzie. I can do that when they're doing the poll. Yeah, most of the time. And sometimes
Yeah.
maybe you have an image of your club as a positive image, but the neighbouring club down the road might have a different opinion than that, Lizzie. And you know, it's
Yeah.
it's horses for courses, and they're coming
Yeah.
in.
So, yeah. So we have a bit of a split there, right? So, and I suppose what we probably have here, I think we have probably a variety of people. I recognise some of the names on here as referees, and I think there's a couple of people on here as well tonight that maybe, I suppose, they're not referees. So about almost 50% of you have said that you don't think this is a positive club, and like there's probably maybe that's the view at the minute. But nearly 44% has said that it is a positive environment, which is really, really good to hear. And I suppose there's a number of other people who've said, small number then, who've said that maybe they're not sure. Okay. That's okay. And I suppose maybe there'll be things tonight where you'll sit back and you'll kind of go, these small steps or these small things would help. Small steps can make big changes in the long term. Okay. I suppose I got ahead of myself there, but I just trying to gauge of the people here, I suppose, how would they rate that? So a lot of people said here that they maybe it's not positive, or maybe it's not positive or negative, but I'm asking you now to maybe rate that. So how would you rate your club environment, ranging from it's ranging from extremely poor to excellent?
I suppose as when people are not goes from probably from the people, facilities, structures within the club in terms of, as you talked about around start the vision and their long term goals, both on and off the field. So rating your environment with taking everything they got when you're voting, guys.
Maybe give it a few more seconds. Anyone else left to vote?
Yeah, they're all in good. The majority, yeah, 44% says good.
Yeah. So yeah, about 50% are saying, half of them said it's good, and then another 20 or 30% are saying kind of average. And maybe we've put that into your heads and you don't want to say that your club is amazing, and that's fine. And then there's a very small minority then on tonight saying that, that the club environment probably is poor. So but overall we've about, over 50% saying it's good, or about 70% saying it's good, from average to kind of good, which is not bad. We're going to get you working a little bit here again, just because we want to interact with you. So again, using that chat function, would you let us know, just for yourselves, what words would you associate with a positive club environment? Okay, so it can be anything, just not sentences, just words.
Yeah, so there's a lot of sort of similar ones coming across. Or there's the outreach, inclusion again, support, fun, it's a team game, encouragement. So all the aspects that we're trying to open up to everyone in the community, Lizzie, that we talk about the new Ireland, that we've all people who from different backgrounds, different ethnic origins that are playing our game there and want to be part of our game. And it's great to see that throughout the 32 counties in Ireland that we're such an inclusive organisation to everyone, and it's great to see that we've young girls from different parts of Europe, different parts of the world now playing our games, and it's so good to see that they're now spreading the joy of ladies Gaelic football, and it's just reaching everywhere in the world.
Yeah, it's amazing. And look, I always say when we talk about like a positive club environment, I always say for the players or for the parents or for the volunteers or people who just walk in those club gates, what would we like them to say? You know, if you're coaching kids or if you're refereeing yourself or whatever, you know, if you walk into a club, you'd like to leave that club, what would you like those people to say about it, I suppose? And look, you've mentioned some of them there. I didn't put too many down, but here's some of the ones I spoke to a number of referees over the last few weeks, and they're saying from a refereeing point of view, like about participation. Okay, it's out, you know, it might center around the players, but it's participation even for themselves. So that there's people have opportunities, that a positive club environment would mean one where it's nurturing, it's supportive. And support, like as one referee said to me, support isn't just about, you know, somebody being nice and welcome when they go in. It's part of it. But even, you know, when they're wishing them the best luck, or it might be somebody's children are doing the Leaving Cert exams, it's a club acknowledging that and understanding that people have other things in their lives that's not as important as ladies football. That it's rewarding. So whether that's as a player or as a coach or a volunteer, that a positive environment, people would feel that it was rewarding, and fun was a huge thing. Respect, it's challenging in a good way, but that we are very much, that a positive environment being one that is welcoming, inclusive, and it just has a feel-good factor, is what was said to me. So there's some other words that would have been kind of used to describe what about that. But I suppose you often ask, you know, people can say all these things. So as a club, it's about how we bring some of those words into reality. Like we can say the words, but how often do we put them into action? So I suppose we'll touch on that then, I suppose, instead of we're kind of gearing up towards that after the next couple of slides. But I suppose I want you to be honest here. Now, I know we have a variety of people on here tonight, which is brilliant. But would people mind sharing with myself and Kieran, like there's no names you mentioned here, would you mind sharing, like, what does your club do to create a positive environment for referees in your club? So if there's anything that your club does or you're aware of that they do that helps create a positive environment for you as referees or for referees in your club, I'd really love to hear from you on that.
Yeah, Brian, he's only refereeing the club, and Brian, unfortunately, in my own club, we've only one official, and it's something that we're all trying to do, Lizzie, behind the background, in the background, to get more young girls and boys taking up the whistle, to make it attractive, to support them, to have mentors, so that they'll not leave after the Go Games, because Go Games is pretty relaxed, as we know, and it's non-competitive, no scores, and it's not. But when it comes to that competitive environment from under 14 up to minor, that's when we losing. Jimmy's saying thank them in social media posts. Yeah, and it's always usually the players, the teams that win trophies, Lizzie, or leagues. But what about here? What about Lizzie there? She officiated in a county final today. Didn't she have a brilliant performance? So we always sometimes forget about the officials and recognising them. I'll just give you, Lizzie, a story of my own club at the minute.
Yeah.
I just started ladies football last year for the first time ever, and we fielded under 12, under 14 time. But this year we had a bit of an issue on our men's side at a minor age group, and one of the parents confronted the referee at the end and challenged the referee. The referee had his children in the car and his wife. From that, we had a coaching meeting last night with our club chairman, and we've made a stance that if that happens at all, going forward in male or female coach, that person is going to be brought up before the committee. We have now decided that one of the club committee or one of the mentors in any of the age groups, Camogie, we have Camogie in our club as well, that are going to meet the referee in the car park, bring them to the changing room, have a chat with them, ask them how their day went, just make them feel comfortable, and then also at the end of the game, make sure that they not escorted off the field, but they're within distance of the referee in case there's any disgruntled parents or any coaches. So that's something that our club are going to bring in for 2024.
Yeah, and it's it's a simple thing, but it can make a difference, and it probably sets a standard between your club as well, Kieran, which is great. Was there anything else there then that came in before maybe we move on?
Just Paddy was saying that it's important to get a cup of tea after the game, and that's an old Irish tradition. It's nice to feel welcome. One of the other people in the Coliseum reminded the coaches that the girls are only 15 and to support them as they start their refereeing journey. Yeah, so a young girl could be refereeing for the first time.
Brilliant.
And honesty, Jason says honesty, not being negative, but it's very true. So being honest with the official and honest with your club personnel.
Brilliant. Thanks a million for that. And look, as I said throughout the evening, I suppose what I'm going to say next is hopefully tonight will make you think a little bit, maybe give yourselves, if you're involved with the club, maybe a bit of a light bulb moment of even maybe something simple like Kieran just said there, kind of go, well, that's something simple that maybe we could implement. Or there might be other things. So just kind of give you some food for thought, excuse me. And we will be posing maybe some questions as well for you to consider. We won't be asking you to answer them tonight, but just to leave them with you as well. So I'm going to pop up another poll here. And I suppose maybe getting into, I wouldn't call it the nitty-gritty now, but getting into, I suppose, asking you questions about your own club. Very simple there, but just to get an idea. So hopefully that's showing they're hearing. It's just, does your club have a referee room? Yes, no, or maybe you're not sure. That's everybody now. Oh no, give it another few seconds. Okay, interesting. I think we nearly have everyone there. So I'll end the poll. Will I, Kieran? I think we have everybody, have we?
Yeah, I think that's everyone. Yeah,
that's everybody. Yeah, we've close enough to everybody there. Yeah, so 56% have said 50, only 50%, 56%, but I was kind of surprised with actually, have said that there is a referee room within their club. I didn't want to use the word designated, but there doesn't appear to be, there is in 56, but there's 44% said that there isn't. Okay, so that's interesting.
New buildings now, Lizzie, that's new, like some of our club grounds are maybe from the 70s or 80s, and back then it was never thought of. It was just, two changes or whatever. But now any new facilities, new buildings, they take that into consideration that there has to be a
most of them do, although I've heard about a fantastic youth facility in my own county. Unbelievable pitches, a whole new whatever, and there's actually it was not thought of at all. So there's actually no place for referees to come and change at all, which is probably more disappointing for new facilities. But your point is completely correct that there isn't maybe a referee dressing room or maybe a designated one. I suppose don't need you to answer this, okay? But just to get you thinking a little bit, for those who said that there is a dressing room or maybe a designated area for referees to a referee room or a match officials room, think about, do you know what that looks like? So what does it physically look like? So questions for you to consider is, does that dedicated room, the referee's room, does it have a bathroom and shower facilities? Does it have toilet paper when the referee comes? Will the room be locked during the game? So if a referee arrives in, can they feel safe that their gear is going to be left there, or if they valuables? So yeah, and I'll be touching on what Kieran said there about, maybe having a designated person. Is it used as a store for gear? Okay, and I know Kieran is smiling there. I was pretty horrified at a game last year, or at an event, and referees came, and you opened the door, you couldn't get in because it's full of nets and cones and balls and whatever. And I suppose I'm not going to pass any more judgment, but to say if that happens in your club, I suppose you just need to think about it. Is that right? Is there something that could be changed there? So maybe just a little bit food for thought. Is it used as a laundry room? And I'm going to be honest, never would have thought that my own club has a new facility, and we're a fairly rural, small club. And I have to say there is a designated referee dressing room, which is fantastic. A private shower facility, which is brilliant. Bathroom facility. And the room was quite big, but the club have had to, it is quite big, so they've had to, it's that big that they have put in laundry, but it is very acceptable. But to think about, is your club using that? So is it actually a referee's room? Is it used as a toilet for the general public? So is it actually a referee's room? Is it just open to everybody and anybody? Yeah. So if you have one in your club, is it actually a dedicated referee's room or not? I suppose it's just some things to think about that might maybe provoke some thought for yourselves. I don't know, Kieran, do you want to come in on any of that?
Yeah, if it is happening, Lizzie, and my own clubs have its storage room, and now we've cleared it in this past number of years, and it does its job, but to me it's like an afterthought. You know what I mean? Like, it's only the referee will put him or her in there, and that's in this day and age, guys. That's not good enough, because our officials, as I said earlier on, at national and provincial level, and even within your own counties, I think it stepped up a level from what it was 10 years ago, guys. The support these guys are getting behind the scenes from Lizzie and her team, it's second to none. So even when that's filtering at national level to provincial, it has to go down to club level within your own counties, and giving them that respect of saying, listen, I didn't mind going to that club there today in County Down. I was welcomed, it was clean, there was shower facilities, and men could go in for a cup of tea in the club rooms after it. They were a welcoming club. And that spreads, Lizzie, around the other referees within the county, saying, you know what, that club there and down, they're really, really welcome. And that's somewhere I'd have no issues come back down again,
Yeah, and look, exactly what you said. I had spoken, I suppose, when I was preparing stuff, and I wanted to see, was there anything I was kind of missing, and I had, let's say, obviously about the shower facilities. And two of the referees, the first thing they said is, if there's one thing they would love, and it's not always possible, is to be able to, sometimes you're going somewhere else, and to be able to just have a shower. You're not worried about anything, it's just a shower. But he said there's times absolutely maybe where there's something not working, and it's fine. But one of the referees would say there'd be nearly 2 clubs he doesn't want to go to, simply, and that is one of the reasons, because there might be an area, but they'll never have facilities to change your shower, which is kind of disappointing, particularly when you're talking, it's not, with respect, Kieran, it's where you're talking about senior championship, which is disappointing to hear. So I suppose just taking a bit of food for thought.
It's that assumption, isn't it? Actually, the referee always comes changing this in the car, and so they're going straight away after the match. We'll have to change that mindset and culture, guys, to respect our referees coming to our clubs.
Yeah, and look, often they're racing to go to another, and we often know referees sometimes, if a game has been, I'm going to say, contentious or a bit hot and heavy, or the temperatures are high in it, they may say, look, I need to get out of here pretty quick and go. So get that, but just you're right, that culture, hopefully, that type of culture, I think referees overall are treated quite well for the most part. But there's just small things maybe that could really help even increase the positivity within, I suppose, the club setting. So just a quick poll here again, and I suppose all we're asking here is very simple. Does your club have a referee liaison, or someone who liaises with referees? To be honest, particularly just kind of what Kieran mentioned earlier on is, is there somebody that, if a referee comes to your club, does anybody meet them, greet them? So that's the type of thing that's what I'm asking for there. Or maybe somebody who maybe might even deal with referees in their club with a referee liaison.
one of the guys on the call, sorry, is that a thing within our association? It's probably not as an officer role as such, isn't it? Not within a club or within a county, but maybe I know a lot of counties do, have referee coordinators, but it's probably I've never heard honestly myself as a referee liaison in the club. I'm just interested to see has anybody got one, or Lizzie's your own club have it, or
Yeah, and look, what I will say there is that the poll is saying there that like the majority, 78% have said that there's not. Okay, there is a very small number who said that. I mean, I'm talking about like 10% of the people on tonight who said that they do have somebody, and then there's again another smaller number saying that they're not sure. But yeah, so within my own club, Kieran, we don't. Not that I'm aware, but again, I'm not sure. I suppose I'm kind of member of kind of two clubs, Camogie, and then there's the kind of the GA club, just very rural. And I'm not sure about the GA club, but it's certainly not something that would be in.
might have a different title as you would. Like it doesn't have to be necessarily a referee liaison officer. It could be just your club chairperson or your club secretary. Just by doing the role, just with a different name, different title.
Yeah, and I was actually thinking about this myself, and I was saying my own father, my own dad does a lot of umpiring. I was saying, if there was matches on in the J Club, he'd be an ideal person to say, would you do, there might only be a handful of games on. Listen, would you do one job for me, Jerry? Would you meet the referee when they come in and show them and just maybe walk them out to the pitch? And he'd be thrilled, like he would be thrilled to be asked. And it's probably a small thing. So kind of maybe might touch on, I suppose, what that might entail. So what is maybe a referee liaison? So it's a person with a dedicated job to possibly greet the referee on their arrival to your club. So the things they might do is show them where to go, where the dressing rooms are, field any questions for them, as Kieran said. Maybe might deal with them telling that, look, maybe I'm going to lock the dressing room, I can open it back up for you for coming into half time, or if it's not going to be, that they're aware of that in terms of the valuables and that. But they walk them out, as Kieran said, to the entrance of the pitch. So they're walking them out because often, and I can see it in my own club, you actually go through a car park, you'd be going through people to get to the pitch, and maybe meet them at half time or at full time again to just walk them back to the referee's dressing room. Because I don't know what it's like here where you are, but like that is quite common that maybe after a game, a referee's coming off, and if a game has been, it doesn't really matter what it is, but people can get their back up and suddenly they're going to meet the referee. So I think having a club person there, referee liaison, just to simply walk them in and walk them out, that alone can actually help.
That incident I told you about in the summertime, Lizzie.
Yeah.
You go for a pitch, it's like maybe a 20-30 minute walk through the car park, where the parents' cars are parked to get into the changing room again. So it is something that it's. And a county ground is different, obviously. They walk maybe underneath a tunnel, or they're away from spectators. But at club grounds, 9 times out of 10, you're walking through parents, and supporters, and it's a very, very, very good point.
Yeah, I suppose that maybe I suppose another thing or two that you mentioned as well is that they could let them know. Like sometimes, I'm not saying it should be done all of the time, but the referees do like a little coupon day if there's something even available at the end of the game, just to let them know. Look, pop up to the clubhouse there, there'll be a cup of tea, and if I like bite to eat, if you're more than welcome to join or whatever. Just simple things like that. Even like I'd be very conscious, Kieran, that I'm kind of maybe coming from my own area in Galway and thinking, and there's times where maybe referees appointed, they might come with their own umpires. Maybe the kind of board, don't have the people to point lines. So maybe, while I'm not saying the referee has to get the lines, but certainly, saying, look, have you a full team, or can I help you with anything? Because maybe somebody within the club might be able to talk to the two clubs about maybe having a neutral person to help out with roles like that. But yeah, so just I suppose that could be, something they do. And just to we've kind of touched on all these already, but if your club is hosting actual championship games, is it something you consider that the referee liaison could maybe talk to the club about having a referee parking spot? Okay, and that might seem a bit mad, but I think there was something we became aware of where a referee was refereeing a game and they literally had to park about half a mile away because there was that many people at the game. And it would probably cause a lot less hassle if there was a parking spot. Again, just something to mull over.
It's double header, Lizzie. It could be a second game in there for you, and then next, it could be busy. Geez, could delay them getting them. It is, yeah, something that they could communicate with the club in advance if it is 2 games on to one venue.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, look, possibility depending on temperatures, maybe the person might even walk back out to their car, so yeah, I suppose we'll probably pose a couple more questions, things for you to think about, things for you to consider over the last few slides maybe, but just one more, I suppose, poll here is, do you know how many referees are in your own club? Come up here for me. Oh,
You're doing that poll, Lizzie. I know in our club, there's maybe 20 or 30 referees we have, but they're the experts behind the fence. We think they know the rules, so no, the answer in my club, we are struggling.
So far, I have to say, really impressive. Yeah, that they do know, that there's referees, or they have referees in the club. So that's a good start anyway. She'll, I suppose, maybe lead us in. I think that might be the last call. It's a bit slow coming up for me, but I suppose, would people mind sharing with us, maybe from their own experiences, if you're referees, or if you're not a referee and you're with us tonight, like what does your club, how does your club make your club referee? So we spoke about there now, maybe more so focusing on maybe visiting referee or visiting match officials, but now for referees within your own club, how does your club make your club referee or referees feel part of the club? Is there anything that your own club does that you're, because I think it's good to share these, maybe things that people can share that actually is really appreciated. So maybe in the chat box there, and you might kind of keep an eye on that for me as well.
There's Sandra says they have 11 underage referees within their club. That's excellent. 11.
Yeah. Anything else? I suppose, and we're talking here, remember, this is about, like, we want our own club referees to actually feel that they're part of the club. So again, what do the club do to make it a positive environment for their own referees? Or maybe they don't. So if there's nothing else, that's fine.
Just one important thing, and I was going to mention separately, is the end of the year thank you present. One of the guys, one of the referees, they don't do anything, unfortunately, for me, and that's very, very worrying as well, because they're representing the club in terms of officiating. Another guy in the call just my own club ignores me. Neighbouring clubs are more welcome to me,
Wow.
and that's happening as well, because you know what I mean. Them guys who give up their time, busy, or officials or referees in your club, I think they should be recognised at the end of the year. I know personally we have an end of year appreciation night for our coaches within my own club. We one club referee, unfortunately, but all volunteers should be appreciated and recognised at the end of a year. And if it's just a small thing of a
I think, and Kieran, and I'd say by the sounds of it, there's a lot of people on here tonight that get it. Like, we get it, Kieran, like, because I know you have. I'm probably lucky. I think you have, but you have the same kind of love for it as I do, which is brilliant. But there is that piece of, I've said it for years, right, and it comes from a good place, what I'm saying. But referees can operate in a negative sphere, because I would say you can go and do any game, but there'll always be somebody on the other side of the fence that won't be happy with the decision or a result, and it's much easier. So I think, referees, they're not refereeing their own club usually, and they can be. I don't mean that they can be forgotten, but they can be a little bit. So you do need good people to do small things, I suppose, to make that environment positive for them, because it feeds in as a whole club, not just refereeing. So there's a couple of bits here maybe to consider, and you've mentioned some of them there. And unfortunately, I know there's some people on tonight who are referees who've said, it's probably why maybe, Kieran, that people don't feel there's a positive, so maybe some referees feel that it's not a positive environment for them because maybe they're being left out. But I suppose looking initially, maybe if there's youth referees, so whether it's Go Games referees or youth referees in your club, I suppose we know all kind of supposed to have an aftercare program and doing that, but is there somebody in your club that can be a support for them, a mentor for them? Maybe there's a referee in the club that you could actually say, listen, John, we have 2 new referees coming out with the refereeing, and sorry, you wouldn't come down, just be there if you're available, just to maybe give them a feedback, a bit of encouragement. There's things like simple things, Kieran, that clubs can do. And if there's nobody there, that puts young people come and they're refereeing within, and maybe they're not our own, but our own referees, if we've young people who are after training up and they're refereeing a blitz, that when they arrive at the venue, maybe there's a little bit meet and greet again with the coordinator, whoever is in the club, and say, listen, these are rules, these things you need to know. If you've any hassle or issues, come to me after your game, and I can sort out any queries, or if you're getting any hassle, I can help you deal with that. So it's just a little bit. We want the environment to be really positive, but it's important for you referees, young referees, that they feel that they have somebody that can check in on them and they have support wherever they go. A few, I suppose, is there anything else? I suppose there's a couple of the bits, and I would share again, if anything comes to mind from people, to please share it in the chat so that, Kieran and myself can maybe put it out there. Things to consider, and some of these are questions, is can your own club better promote your referee development? So what do I mean by that? I'm talking about maybe circulating information to all its club members about referee education, about upcoming courses, maybe trying to actually identify people in your club that might take up the whistle, whether that's a youth person or whether that's maybe a player who got injured a couple of years ago. And we all assume people end up retiring and they'll get into coaching. But does anyone actually ask them? There's a girl I'm very friendly with in Dublin, and she said to me, I was asked by the club after I got my injury. I had retired from playing. She played all the Andes football. She said, oh, no, I'm done. So would you take up the whistle? And she, yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that. Now she's a guard, so she probably likes it in that sense. But, it would never have crossed her mind that she would ever want to coach kids. And it wasn't her thing, but she's delighted to be referee. So maybe there's people that we give them opportunity to get involved. And as I mentioned already, ensuring that maybe Go Games referees in particular are supported in your club at the club blitzes, that there's somebody there, as I said, maybe have a little debrief saying the blitz is on at 10:30. Can you arrive at 10? Meet myself, or if you're talking to the parents, meet myself, just remind them of the rules, tell them these are the pitches you're going to be on, and say you can come to me I'll come out to you at the end of every game and just check in how you're getting on. And it's a very simple thing. But young people feel that young referees can feel that they have somebody, they have backup. So if anything goes wrong, Mary in the club actually is coming out to be there now. So if I'm not sure of anything, I can ask them. I suppose, kind of as I mentioned already, can we develop a philosophy in our club where people can be more than players, more than coaches? Can they be young PROs? Can they be referees? So to identify people and offer bigger opportunities for people, and because I often think that people have a lot to offer, we just have to give them the chance. A few other bits then, last few bits is, can you keep club referees aware of what's happening, or how can you keep club referees aware of what's happening in your club? So we mentioned earlier on that maybe there's a few referees on here tonight that feel maybe they feel not that they're unwanted, but maybe their club just aren't bothered with them. But there's small things that we can do, I think, within clubs to make referees feel actually part of their own club. So, like, if there's information happening, is there an email list that goes out on a weekly or monthly basis? Is there a newsletter that goes out? Is information shared on social media? I suppose there's probably other ideas I'm sure that people have, but I suppose, look, how can you promote? And we kind of touched on this, and it is being done by some people, but like, how can you promote or support your own referees within the club? So, it's a PRO in the club Can they say, I want to wish Kieran the very best luck who's refereeing the county final this weekend, or maybe you have a referee, and that referee may have 4 umpires from your club or locality as well. So want to wish Kieran and his Kieran, John, Mary, whoever, the best of luck. The team of officials refereeing the county final this weekend or semi-final. It's a very small thing, but it's a nice little acknowledgement. Referees kit. Maybe there's somebody you're after identifying in the club. I know most of them get their own, but maybe somebody starting out would say, listen, love to get you a kit just to get you started. Is that something? I don't know, 20 or 30 quid. I don't know what it is actually, he says, for referee kit. And I think we've probably all, you've mentioned it, Kieran, it's here again. If the club runs club awards or a function at the end of the year, is that something you can invite your referee in your club to, acknowledge them, to thank them? Maybe they've done a couple of big games. Maybe they represented not just your club, but your county and inter-county level. And maybe there's a presentation that could be made to them to thank them for all their hard work. So they're all small things. And if you're on here tonight from a club, like Kieran and myself would not say you're on here and we're expecting clubs to implement any of these, but it's trying to give you food for thought. I'm going to go back to the question that I probably asked at the start, and maybe I shouldn't now because I probably get a certain feeling of it. I was hoping it was going to be really positive, but I'll put it up. I'll put it up again anyway, as I had planned. So I'm just going to relaunch this again. Just ask it based maybe on what we covered this evening. How now would you rate your club environment? Okay, I'll just give it the last few seconds before I close that off. Okay, I just want to find here now again where I put that from earlier on to check the difference that we had from earlier. Yeah. So I suppose we still have a large amount, which is, I think, is important. Just because we want through tonight doesn't mean that if our club aren't doing these things, it makes them a poor club. Certainly not. But there's maybe, I'd say, a few people have actually rated them now that they're average based on that. So we still have almost close to 40% saying it's good, but there's over 50% think the club is still a really good environment, which is brilliant. And then a few more, I think, based on tonight have slipped down into the kind of the poor and extremely poor. But
as I would say if you are slipping down to the lower 1 or 2s, you be the driver of change, guys, within your club. If nobody else is doing it, you take the bull by the horns and say, listen, for 2024, I'm going to lead this in terms of referee support and the referee liaison, whatever the title you want to give it. I'm going to be the driver of change within my club and make it a more welcoming environment for visiting officials and for my own referee within the club, that they're supported and that they're being helped along their referee journey. Because it's very, very important. You're talking about busy on the call are visiting officials, but to go off their own is very, very important as well.
Well, that's really important. And I think, Kieran, I think things are really going. I always say that, referees are few and far between, and we need to do as much as possible within the club setting to increase the number of people, to give as much opportunity as possible. And look, I spot a couple of names here tonight. I know myself in my own club. I suppose I'm helping them, with the nursery at the minute, little indoor nursery, and that's new for the club. But I suppose next year, one of the things I'm hoping to do is to offer out, a Go Games course for 15, 16, 17-year-olds in the club, and hopefully get them a bit more involved. So it could be actually just doing a simple thing like that, saying to the club, listen, we'd love to get more young referees coming in? You know, would you mind, even just to get your foot in the door? Maybe it's a case saying, listen, you know, there might be a tutor, it's going to be self-led online next year. Look, I'd love to help with that. And if we could organise a couple of blitzes, I'll try and come down maybe any day I'm free to support them. So maybe small changes, as you said, Kieran, and be the driver of that. I suppose
and I'm tutoring actually as well as doing the Go Games courses, which are quite popular in the schools environment. I give them that wee carrot and stick. I give them the stories of referees who go to the North American games, who go out to Bahrain and the Middle East. I said, guys, there's opportunity to travel being a referee. And they're like, really? You get a chance to go away to a different part of the world and referee? I say, yeah. So you see a part of the world through refereeing as well. So it's trying to give them that side and say, right, maybe it is time for me to take up the whistle as a young boy or girl.
Yeah. And kind of, as we've said there, look, small changes can have a big impact. So small, you know, those small steps now can make a big change in time. They might be small, but if we keep chipping away at maybe some of the things we've made you think about tonight, it would be great. And certainly if people are involved with their club, maybe ask you to consider, just think about those. I'm not saying you have to do any of them, but maybe the small things that provoked maybe some thoughts in, that's something I'd like to do within our own club next year. Just to kind of finish up, and I might pose a question at the end as well, but just to remind people, I suppose, that we have a number of other webinars coming up. We have another one next week for our referees, and it'll happen right through now, between now and the end of March 2024. Was really at this stage, and I might stop my share, is just to ask if there's maybe Kieran, yourself might stay on maybe and take any more questions. But look, if there are any questions, we'd love to hear it. But I suppose what I'd even love to hear right now, Kieran, is, was there anything, if people wouldn't even mind popping in the chat, was there anything tonight? I'm not saying that it was massively mind-blowing or thought-provoking, but maybe as a club, maybe it's something, God, you know, there's something there I think that we could implement in their club. Be just interesting, and people want to engage with that, that would be fantastic. Yeah, so there are underage courses. Yeah, to be one in the club. Yeah, aim to get some kids involved. Brilliant. So it's for us is to know that, look, you've gotten something out of this evening. That it maybe did make you think a little bit, person. Yeah, the liaison person. So there's a few bits coming in, which is fantastic. Look, Kieran, I'm going to stop the recording, and maybe we can stay on maybe and answer any further questions that people have, even though I think we have most of them covered.